Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the season finale of the first season of Emerging Voices, an Emerging Crypto.io podcast, where we will be segmenting Web3 thought leaders in emerging markets. I'm your host, John Lara, founder of Emerging Crypto.io, your single go-to source for Web3 news in emerging markets. Today, we will be speaking with Lara Abdul Malak, LinkedIn influencer and founder of Lara On The Block, based in Lebanon. If you want to stay up to date on Lara's analysis of Web3, you may go to laraontheblock.blogspot.com. Lara, thank you for joining and welcome to the show.
Hi, John. Thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be your last one this year, so I'm the finale.
Oh, it's our pleasure. Lara, for the uninitiated, what is Lara on the Block?
So, John, it's my take on the blockchain and the crypto ecosystem in the GCC and MENA region, because this has been one of my fortes for the past 7 years. It just follows up on everything that's going on, news, as well as my own takes on things. That's about it. So that's what Lara on the Block is.
Prior to Lara on the Block, you've had a successful career in media and journalism covering Web3 technology and business as a writer and editor-in-chief. Which outlets were you writing for, and how and when did your journey begin writing about Web3?
So John, if you see me, I'm an old timer in this industry. I started my career as a journalist in the tech field, and then I went into the telecom sector in communications, and then I came 360 degrees back to journalism. So in 2014, I was working for 𝐄𝐬𝐬𝐿 Group. It's a very well-known media publishing business publishing house in the MENA region. And I was covering Cybus in Boston. I was covering the tech part of Cybus, which was 𝐄𝐬𝐬𝐿. And I met Vitalik Buterin, the founder of Ethereum. And he was just 21 at the time. He had just gotten his first 18 million. And, I was interviewing him and he was talking about, the blockchain and crypto and tokenization and all of that. And I was like so amazed, So I've been writing so long for the tech industry, but this kind of like gave me, a boom kind of effect. And I was like, this is going to change everything. But of course, when I got back to the MENA region, it was not easy to get people to understand the difference between the technology, the blockchain technology, and crypto. And so there was a lot of, naysayers. We don't want to go near that. We don't want to talk about that. But the amazing thing, what happened, John, is in 2017, I used to cover the GCC. So I was always traveling to the UAE. And at the time, they had Smart Dubai, which was an entity that was created by the Dubai government. And Smart Dubai was started to get into blockchain. And so from there, we did Unlock, which was the first actually blockchain media platform in the region, and I was the editor-in-chief, and we did 3 conferences. So it was partly it was created so that we could build the knowledge base so that people could understand what blockchain was and what it could do for various sectors and various industries. So that's in a nutshell how I got into Web3. Hope that wasn't long.
Let's first discuss further Web3 in the Middle East and North Africa, or what we may refer to as MENA. According to Chainalysis, MENA is the fastest growing region for crypto adoption, receiving $566 billion in cryptocurrency from July 2021 to June 2022, 48% more received than the prior year, with Lebanon, your home country, being the second largest market after Turkey by cryptocurrency value received in MENA. Lara, what are some of the reasons and use cases driving crypto adoption and enthusiasm across MENA?
So it's a great question, John, because it's very much related to the finance. I mean, why did Bitcoin come out in the first place? Because in 2008, you had the financial, global financial crash and everything. And if you look at the MENA region and you look at the fastest growing countries where people are using crypto, you just said it was in Turkey and Lebanon. And the reason for that is because the depreciation of both the Lebanese lira and the Turkish lira, the financial collapse in Lebanon. I'm sure that you've all heard about that. The economic downfall in the country. And so, that people lost all their money in the banks here in Lebanon. So you have two things that are happening. People don't trust fiat currencies or the financial system in the country anymore. And this brings in the utilization of crypto. And then you have a lot of Lebanese who are expats or Lebanese who are in the country but work for entities outside of the country and are getting paid in crypto. So maybe a family member who's outside will send their parents money in USDT or in Bitcoin, and then they go over to an OTC counter and they kind of exchange that for day-to-day, usage. Plus, there's this stronger, more momentum in a lot of retailers in the country to get paid even in crypto. One more thing is that crypto mining in Lebanon during 2 years ago was pretty strong because electricity was priced at a very low price. So people could do crypto mining and actually make good profits. Today there is no electricity, so they're all working with generators, and generators are now more expensive. But yet you do find people who are still into the crypto mining business. So in general, I think that countries that are facing economic strife, financial problems, are the ones that are moving to crypto. And then you have on the opposite side, the well-off ones, the GCC countries like the UAE, Bahrain, and Saudi, who are dabbling in crypto because it's a interesting investment, because they can utilize payments with it. So you have both spectrums of usage.
Who are some of the most important Web3 companies founded in MENA that we should be following?
My gosh, when I read the question, I was like, this is a difficult question, John, because I'm an advocate of all the crypto entities that are coming out from the region. So I think they all have something wow to give. But let's say, for example, when it comes to blockchain development, Web3 blockchain development, one of the ones that come to mind are Avanza Innovations. They've been working with governments across the MENA region, across emerging countries on various blockchain implementations. For example, you have the crypto exchanges that have come out from the MENA region, like 𝐄𝐦𝐞𝐬, 𝐵itoasis, that are very interesting to follow up and look into. You have, for example, the crypto payment sector. There was this new company called People, and they just raised in total this year 40 million just to move the crypto payments industry not only in GCC but Africa. You have WatchPay as well, where they're based in the UAE, and they're also doing that, crypto payments, stable coins, CBDCs. I mean, the list goes on. You have DeFi, Shisha Finance, you have Easy Sports that are doing, gamifying NFTs. You have Nifty, for example, which is an NFT marketplace. It's the first and the biggest so far in the MENA regions. There's so many, and I don't want to just like name some and then forget others. So I think that's enough. But I mean, all of them are of interest. All of them have potential.
Last week, you published an article about the UAE entitled UAE now has 2 crypto hubs and 2 blockchain crypto asset associations. And for those that aren't aware, Dubai and the UAE has become one of the world's most attractive markets for both high net worth investors and international crypto companies. Lara, what is so special about the UAE when it comes to Web3? And what is the UAE doing to become a regional and global crypto hub?
John, I mean, I think one of the special things about the UAE, even before the crypto scene came on, was their affiliation with technology, their affiliation to, this open trade, the fact that they were bringing in so many businesses and international expats in the country. So the country is a very opening country for innovation, for new businesses, for people in general. So that's one thing. The next thing is that they were the first. So crypto and blockchain come together. Okay, so they were the first country in the entire region to open up the blockchain strategy, right? And to start implementing it in government entities across the UAE. And from there on, they moved on to the second thing, which is, crypto and digital assets and virtual assets. The major thing that they've done, they and of course Bahrain, is that they've even created the regulatory entities that are needed to regulate the sector in a way where it doesn't stifle the sector, but it doesn't keep the sector as well, unregulated totally. So they're somewhere in the middle. And they're so diversified, John. So for example, if you wanted to get regulated in certain sectors, like maybe NFTs, tokenization, whatever, you'd go to, for example, the Dubai World Trade Center Authority or DMCC. If you wanted to get into like security tokens and so forth, you'd go into DIFC, the Dubai International Financial Center. If you wanted to get into anything that's also in the financial GM, which is the Abu Dhabi Global Markets in Abu Dhabi. So whoever has a project in whatever the right entity to help them get that project regulated, things that they've done. And I mean, look at the article that, two associations, two crypto hubs, and you also have Crypto Oasis in the middle that brings in the Swiss experience to the UAE. All of that together keeps it striving. And lastly, let's not forget, they've opened up their visa system, golden visas, freelancers can come in and work in Dubai. So they're bringing in the developers as well as the companies, so that it becomes a very connected ecosystem. Because you can't have the companies if you don't have the developers. You can't have the developers if the companies are not there. So it's all coming together in one.
Dubai is certainly taking the lead to create a regulatory framework to make a market, but how would you generalize the regulatory environment across the rest of MENA?
Okay, so Dubai has, they've started out with their regulations, and it keeps on improving, and it keeps on, reformulated depending on what's going on in the sector. But look at Bahrain, for example. Bahrain has truly been the leader because they were the first to have onshore regulation for crypto exchanges in the region. So the first crypto exchange that ever came out of the region came out of Bahrain, and it came out with the blessing of the Central Bank of Bahrain. This is something that's still missing, for example, in the UAE, okay? But elsewhere, it's a vague, they're still studying it, they're still looking at it. So Saudi Arabia, they haven't done anything on the crypto side. There were insinuations that at the end of the year, they would come out with a tokenization regulation. So we're waiting to see if that happens. In Qatar, they just started with their blockchain and the idea of tokenization. Nothing's been done yet. Egypt's no go, Lebanon's no go. These are the only two biggest entities that have done anything in this regards has been UAE and Bahrain, and that's about it. Turkey a little bit.
What is Dubai's metaverse strategy?
So Dubai's metaverse strategy is to make, to add to the GDP of the country around $4 billion per year, is to get 40,000 or 4,000, 4,000, metaverse jobs. into the city, and to bring more than in total 4,000 to 5,000 companies that are metaverse, blockchain, crypto related. So they want to build the same ecosystem that they built in for crypto and blockchain. They want to bring that into the metaverse. And in the end, John, if you really look at it, they're all interrelated, okay? Because I always see, like, you can't have a metaverse without you having digital asset payments in it, okay? And you can't have digital asset payments and a metaverse without having, you know, a blockchain, you know, something transparent on the network, digital identity on it, etc. So there, it's all, I see it as, you know, the sweet spot, right? Metaverse, blockchain, crypto all together.
Some media outlets have speculated that the UAE has become an attractive place for money laundering for wealthy and/or sanctioned Russians to use their crypto to buy hard assets like real estate or convert it to fiat to evade sanctions. In March, the Paris-based Intergovernmental Financial Task Force placed the UAE on its gray list of countries not doing enough to combat money laundering and illegal financial activities. It is also worth noting that the UAE has remained neutral and have decided not to join Western sanctions against Moscow over its war in Ukraine. From your reporting, Lara, what have you heard about these speculations? Is there any validity to them? And what is your perspective on this?
First of all, John, I think the only one who ever covered this was Reuters, and not any other media would dare to touch upon this subject. But I'm just to make things clear. So crypto in general, people think it's the easiest way to money launder, right? But it's not, right? Cash is the easiest way to money launder. Yes, there was a huge influx of Russians from Russia towards Dubai, especially the high income, very rich Russians coming to Dubai. But remember, at the time when Dubai was bringing them all in, Dubai hadn't allowed crypto payments to actually happen. So what was happening was this. Maybe they did have crypto on them, and when they did make a payment, they made a payment with a third-party entity that was actually outside of the UAE, and then that third-party entity would pay, for example, for the real estate in fiat currency, okay? So it wasn't really happening within the jurisdiction of the UAE. So I don't know how we can really say that it was a UAE kind of money laundering, because these were done with third parties. Now, very easily, if FATF or anyone wanted to find out if money laundering had actually taken place, just look at what recently happened with Binance, right? It was an article that came out in Reuters. It was huge, saying that Binance had money laundered around 8 billion USDs from Iran, right? And Chainalysis had done the reason, others had done. So if there was any true validity to whatever they were saying, they would actually have backed it up with a real study of where and how is that money brought into the country and so forth. So I think that yes, the UAE does have an influx of Russians. I think there are a lot of crypto holders in the UAE, but I think that the UAE has done a lot since that came out, since they were put on the gray list, to ensure they've done so with their crypto. They've done so with all the merchants who are dealing with crypto to make sure that they are working with regulated compliant entities when they're receiving payments in crypto. And so in the end, let's see what happens. I think that it'll turn out that maybe not so much. I mean, maybe it didn't happen, So money laundering is a very tough thing to follow, right? Cash is like king when it comes to money laundering, but I don't think we should always associate crypto to money laundering. Crypto, you can really follow the tracks and transactions of crypto better than anything else in the world. I hope I answered your question.
No, it's a very topical perspective. Thank you for a local on the ground, boots on the ground point of view. Let's move on to talk about and learn more about your home country of Lebanon its economy and crypto market. We talked about it a little at the beginning. And given that it's the second largest crypto market in MENA, Lebanon is an interesting place considering its economy and inflation. And emergingcrypto.io recently covered crypto's role in Lebanon as the headline article a few weeks ago. But before we talk about crypto in Lebanon, for our viewers who may not be familiar with Lebanon, Lara, how is Lebanon's economy performing and what is the rate of inflation like there?
So for those who don't know, in 2019, a financial banking crisis occurred, and Lebanon, and they had, Eurobond debts and so forth, and the government, the state defaulted on those bonds. So they were in billions of dollars, and it turned out they kind of lost like $150 billion between whatever people's money was in the banks and whatever they had loaned out and whatever they had, indebted and so forth. So that crashed not only the financial sector, but it crashed the entire economy. And it's been that way for the past 3-4 years because no reforms have been made, no economic reforms have been made to date, no governmental reforms have been made. So the inflation went up to more than 280%. I mean, so let's put it in perspective. Before that, $1 used to equal 1,500 Lebanese liras, right? Today, $1 is 40,000 Lebanese liras. That means a person who used to get paid $1,000 in Lebanese, like 1,500,000, is now getting paid $40 or even less, $30, which has put Lebanon in the level of countries that we used to think were wow, you know what I mean, Ethiopia or Venezuela or whatever. So we're in now that level of economic stagnation, whatever you want to call it. Yet the Lebanese are resilient, and that's where crypto comes in. Okay, one of the basic things about the Lebanese is they've always been travelers. So if you have 4 million Lebanese in the country, you have 14 million that are outside of the country working, across different continents and and they bring with them the new knowledge and new ways of, sending money or helping out and so forth. And I think that's how crypto has seeped into to the economy. There aren't official figures, but they're in the hundreds of millions, that, from what I've talked to different people from, over the counter, the ones, trading crypto for fiat, they're in the hundreds of millions and it's growing. And a lot of them are using stable coins because it's a good way. So one of the major issues is that since a lot of businesses can't get their money out of the banks, right? And therefore they can't import, export the way they want to. Now they use USDT to do that. So they buy with USDT, import, and then sell. So yes, the crash created this growth in the crypto sector. From your grandma to your
And as you've just mentioned, crypto is being used both as a store of value and medium of exchange across the country. What about Lebanon's Web3 startup ecosystem? Who are some of the blockchain crypto Web3 companies in Lebanon that we should be following, and what are they doing?
John, I wanted to go into that. So there's this one company that just recently was launched. I just got it off my head. Oasis X, okay? So they're a Web3 blockchain enabled company, but they've also gotten into the NFT space, and they've created this really cool NFT marketplace that's coming out. There are others, John, but they're not yet shining. So I know that there are a lot of Lebanese who have left the country to go and set up Web3 entities in the UAE or elsewhere, okay? And I know there are a lot of developers here who, sit at home and develop for entities that are in the US or in the GCC, etc. But to give you names like these very flashy ones, I don't have. Sorry. Maybe 2023.
Earlier, you said that Lebanon doesn't have any regulatory framework at the moment. What is the current position for cryptocurrencies in Lebanon? And given its importance, do you think there is going to be a regulatory framework developed and established in the near term?
So right now, the Central Bank of Lebanon has, sent out a kind of, letters or whatever announcement saying, it's not good to deal in crypto, and crypto is not supported. And if you get in trouble using crypto, we won't be there to like help you because it's not legalized. But yet there's no regulation, but there's something that says, you're totally not allowed to use crypto. Okay, so there's this gray area where people kind of meshing about. So, for example, you can't have a crypto exchange in Lebanon, right? But a lot of Lebanese use the crypto exchanges that are international, so they just put in their passport or driving license, and they can, use them. And you go to any OTC market, and you'll see a Bitcoin shop, right? Or you'll see a phone shop, and it'll say, we exchange USDT or we exchange Bitcoin, and no one comes near them, all right? And even when there was this big debacle about Bitcoin mining, because, in a certain area in Lebanon, Bitcoin miners were using the hydroelectric power and they were taking in more electricity than, they were supposed to. When the police came to their places, right, they couldn't actually do anything for those that were actually paying for that electricity, because Bitcoin mining or any crypto mining is not, is neither banned nor legalized. I'm sorry, the electricity just left, so
No problem.
it's still it's a gray area, and because it's such a gray area, anything goes, right? I
Given,
do, yeah.
go ahead.
So coming to your second question, should it be regulated given what's going on? In all honesty, John, I think that they should have embraced it and not just regulated it, but actually embraced it totally. I think that they could have used blockchain and tokenization to solve a lot of their financial problems. The government, I mean, the government has $18 billion of gold sitting in a vault in the central bank, right? I mean, if they had tokenized that gold and had it traded on secondary exchanges, they could have actually brought in a lot of money. For example, if they had allowed for crypto to flourish and to be used as, like in other countries, it might have, even helped the economy get better, right? Because right now crypto is like used in the secondary economy. You can't tell how much crypto is coming in or how much crypto is going out or anything. So I think they could have used that to like bolster the economy and to help people get paid and to help goods and services be carried out with crypto. But we'll see. Maybe it could be used as a legal tender even. I don't know.
That segues nicely into my next question. Does it seem reasonably possible to you that the Lebanese government would adopt a decentralized cryptocurrency like Bitcoin to be legal tender, either in tandem with the Lebanese lira or replace the Lebanese lira entirely?
I think that, I mean, I'm a big believer that the future is not in fiat government controlled currencies. Okay, the whole world has moved to a digital world, and people are more connected than ever. And what connects them is not, their nationalities or their geographies. It's their communities, what brings them together, what they like, etc. And when you have that, what follows usually is a unified kind of currency. So Lebanon is not far from the rest of the world. Okay, and in the future, the children and the youth of tomorrow don't want to go to a bank. They don't care if they hold Lebanese lira or US dollars or whatever. They want a currency that they can use, and digitally pay on from a wallet. they have more confidence in themselves, so they feel more confident in doing their own investments and giving loans to to the companies and entities that they want to give in, and so forth. So I think it's not just Lebanon, but I think a lot of other countries will eventually follow suit and incorporate crypto into the way they do, how they pay and everything. You see a lot of governments going into CBDCs, and that's one way of showing people that, look, governments have started to understand that there is a movement towards digital currencies. Look at Ecuador, for example. He's still buying Bitcoin and he's all into it. I think that it would help. I think it would even give more freedom and to the Lebanese and to other countries.
Well, we're just about at time. Last question regarding the future of MENA's Web3 market and industry. Lara, why should the world pay attention to MENA and what regulators, companies, teams, and individuals are doing in its Web3 market? And what's next for the region that will forward the overall Web3 industry and adoption?
So John, I mean, look at the news that came out last week, right? So Mubadala, one of the biggest sovereign funds in the UAE, invested in air carbon exchange. That's tokenizing carbon assets so that you can to offset their carbon usage, right, or their carbon emissions. And uh, and and one of the biggest investments in crypto exchanges came into the MENA region, whether it was the 9 million for 𝐄𝐦𝐞𝐬 or the 30 million for 𝐵IT. Three things that I think that are going to happen in the future. A lot of money is being spent on gaming, right? Whether it's in Saudi Arabia or the UAE or elsewhere. And this is because you not only have a youthful population, but you have a lot of technological savvy individuals, and they're bringing that all into the blockchain and into Web3 and into NFTs and tokenization and so forth. And one greatest example is like what's happening today with the FIFA, the World Cup, right? A lot of fan tokens are coming out from the region, a lot of interesting NFTs and so forth. And I think that's going to be one of the futuristic things that we'll see. I also think that you'll have a lot of growth in tokenization, the tokenization of everything. So whether it's the tokenization of oil and gas, because today you have a huge energy crisis in the globe, and people are, and governments and businesses are trying to find ways to make this industry more efficient, to make it more transparent, to make the operational costs go down. Blockchain is one way, Web3 is another, tokenization. There's so much flared gas, there's so much stranded gas, there's so much rigs that are very small that usually aren't commercially viable. But if you had security tokens on a marketplace and crowdfunding for them, so one interesting company is like Premium Chain. They've done that in Canada and they want to bring it into the region. So there's so many things that whether it's the energy sector, the entertainment gaming sector, and even in crypto trading, because it's still very small right now. It's still, the growth can be huge.
Lara, thank you very much for being a guest on the show and sharing your insights and perspectives. If you want to learn more about Lara on the Block and follow Lara's analysis and reporting on Web3 in the Middle East and North Africa, you may go to laraontheblock.blogspot.com. And that concludes the first season of Emerging Voices and emergingcrypto.io podcast. I'm John Lara. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next season. Hey guys, thank you for watching and supporting independent media. Before you go, we'd really appreciate it if you would please like, subscribe, and share the video. It really helps our reach so we can keep making great content for you. Cheers.